Okay, so today is the 29th of March 2015, and this video is called the Celtic Cross Card 5. And just to recap, with the method that I use and like, the first card is the atmosphere surrounding the question. The second card goes across the first one and it shows the opposing force. The third card goes down below and shows the foundation. The fourth card goes to the left and shows what's passing away. And the fifth card, which is today's video, it goes up above the first card and it shows what may come. Okay, so what's new about this card is that with the card in this position, you can take it if you like it, or you can avoid it if you don't. You have the questioner has a choice with how they're going to deal with, accept or reject what is shown by the card in the fifth position. So it shows a possible future, and if it's a good card, let's say the Sun, it can be a new direction, or it can show future success is possible because it's what may come. Or it could be a warning, a card of difficulty here. It can show it's a warning, so it's pointing out something that you can or you should avoid in the future. So depending on the card, maybe it's saying don't do this. So generally speaking, with the card in the fifth position, you can have it if you want it, or you can reject it if you don't like the look of it. So let's say you have the Sun upright in the fifth position, then maybe it shows you're going to reach the heights, right? With the Sun here, you're going to have success in whatever area you're asking about. So yes, you can meet somebody and have a good and fulfilling relationship, or yes, you can get the job that you want, excuse me, and you'll do it well, and you'll be capable and successful and well respected and so on. Good things will come from the new position, or will be connected with the new position. Or maybe you've got the Ten of Swords in the fifth position and it's upright. So we're not assuming that, or we're not thinking that the card is automatically good or bad, but we're thinking about what it shows. So with what may come and the Ten of Swords, 10 is 1 plus 0 gets you back to 1 again. So what may come is a new beginning. 1 is a new beginning. It's there. You can have a new beginning if you want it, right? And it's because the 1 can be pointing to the Ace of Swords coming up. A keyword for this particular card, the Ace of Swords, is organization. So with the Ten of Swords, maybe it's stress, right? So if you want to leave stress behind, you can do it if you get organized. And if you set things up correctly in order to get the result that you want. So you need to examine what you've been doing or what you've been letting happen, right? Because sometimes things are bad or difficult because of what we don't do. We just sort of let it slide and we end up in a difficult situation. It's not always because we do deliberately idiotic things. So with 1 plus 0 equaling 1, think about what you've been doing and take control of it and keep what's valuable and get rid of what isn't, or get rid of what is holding you back, or what is interrupting you for no good reason, right? Because we get that a lot. We just sort of let people interrupt us and get us off track. And then we've got to take time to get back on track. And, you know, it makes more sense to not allow the interruptions in the first place. Or maybe you've got the Devil in this fifth position, and it's easy to see the Devil card just because of its name. Maybe it's saying this is a warning. Right, so the message may be with the Devil card in the fifth position, make sure in the future that you don't get off track, or you don't get tempted into doing something that you know you ought not to do, right? Because the Devil can represent temptation, right? So don't be tempted to do what you know you ought not to do, or what you don't really want to do. And if you can have some self-control and take yourself seriously, right? Because you're valuable and worthwhile, though you may think that you're not. So if you can take yourself seriously, then you won't get into trouble, right? Because this is what may come. you won't get into trouble, or you'll avoid getting sucked into something that is very difficult to get out of, because the man and the woman are chained round their neck to the block of stone. So the card in this fifth position, it can motivate the questioner to do better once they know what's possible, right? So if the sun is there, you explain how they can have success, and that can motivate them to actually bring it about. Or, depending on the card again, it can alert them to a bad habit they should do something about. So an example of that, let's say we have the Four of Cups reversed in the fifth position. And let's say we're taking it, because it's reversed, we're taking it as something to avoid. And it's in the future. So you're probably in the future there's going to be too much waiting for it to happen, right? Whatever it may be, depending on the question. So as an example, maybe somebody wants to become a published author, right? They want to write a book. But it can be that they've got things in the wrong order. With the Four of Cups reversed in the future, they maybe want an agent first and a contract, then they'll write the book. And they can be waiting to get the agent before they actually write, right? So they're doing that waiting for the agent or waiting for the contract can be the thing they're doing too much waiting for, right? But if you want to be an author, you're not going to make it as an author until you've got a book written. So get it written and edited and concentrate on doing what you have to do to get the manuscript ready. With the Four of Cups reversed in the future and a question about being a published author. Because in a more general way, the picture in the Four of Cups can show somebody, he's looking straight ahead at what he already knows and recognizes. So it could be somebody who's looking at what they know or what they're familiar with or comfortable with, even if it's just a habit and it's not that interesting any longer, instead of thinking outside the box, as they say. And their narrow vision, looking straight ahead, means they're going to miss a lot. Since we're interpreting this card as showing a glitch of some sort because the card is reversed. So this fifth position is what may come. So it doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be this way with the Four of Cups reversed. So think about what changes you need to make in whatever area of life we're dealing with and implement them, and you're going to avoid a difficulty. Okay, a second kind of point is, if you remember the second card in the spread, it was horizontal, right? It's across the first one. And horizontal can make us think of the horizon, okay, and the passage of time throughout the day. So you get sunrise at one end and sunset at the other, or of this line of the horizon. And the fourth card is at the sunrise position. So sunrise is a time of new possibilities. It's a new day. So the past is being left behind, and the midnight position is being left behind. Because after sunrise, the sun is climbing up in the sky to the noon position, which is where the fifth card is. Right? So the light of day is becoming stronger. So there's power to accomplish associated with the card in the fifth position at noon. If you think of it too, any new day can become anything. So there's energy to reach up. So take that fifth card seriously. Although, going back to the idea of the sun and increasing energy and light throughout the day, we can stay indoors and not enjoy any of it. You don't have to go outside. Right, so you have a choice with this fifth card. I had thought of calling this video Card 5 Introduction, because I wanted to make a couple of points about what is the past, what's the present, and what's the future. And this is just so that we can make more sense of the cards in these positions in the Celtic Cross. And I'd like to mention some ideas right now, even though they're not complete, and you can argue against them, but I'll be referring back to them in later Celtic Cross position videos, so I think it's going to be okay to make a start now. And this kind of began some years ago when I read that in ancient Egypt, and probably elsewhere, it was believed that the present moment is the meeting point of an infinite past and an infinite future, right? So I imagine this gigantic X, okay, like an X, where the angle on the left was the past, and the lines of the X stretched forever into the distance. And the angle on the right, so this side, represents the future. And again, you've got the lines of the X going out into the distance forever. And where the two lines cross, that's the present position. And that's where we are right now. And that's where we can only be. Okay, at this point, I discovered afterwards that the battery ran out. So I'm having to redo this part again. So it may look slightly different. Anyway, so the idea was that you've got this big X, right? And the meeting point of the infinite past and the infinite future. And we're in the middle, right? And we can only know now, right? The present moment. But we can choose the quality of the moment. We can choose what we make of the moment and where we focus our attention. And I read a quote a short time ago that it's supposed to come from Lao Tzu, the Chinese philosopher, who apparently said that if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. And if you're at peace, you're living in the present. So no matter what's going on, we can be in the middle of a hostile environment, but we can still relax, breathe in and out a few times and find our center, or find harmony or balance, or think about something inspiring and uplifting. And then once we're at that point, or once we've recognized that state of mind, we can move on or move out from there. Because if you do that, you're then starting from a point of harmony and balance, and it's real and true. And it's as true as the upset or the difficulty we think we're in. But if we find the state of harmony and move out from there, we sort of take the harmony with us into the future or into the difficulty. And we're much more able to solve it, assuming that it continues to exist even, because we could discover that it was just an illusion and it doesn't have power to, the upset doesn't have power to control conditions. So, at the same time, if we try to do this and we fail, then we can just try again and recenter ourselves again. And if we can't do that, we relax some more. And we focus on the harmony. And this harmony, maybe it's a time or a situation where we were contented and where we felt at home and confident. And we can revisit that time or that moment if we shift our focus onto it. So somebody may be unhappy about something and it seems real and alive and true at that moment. But you can still choose to focus on something that's more useful than regret or remembering past hurts or being resentful. Because that kind of thinking can hold you back or hold you down. A lot of times, if we've got a problem, we think that if we go over it, if we go over the problem or go over the past, we're going to finally discover the one key point that's going to make it all magically come right, and we'll be free of it. But when you're going over the past like that, how far back do you go? Right? So maybe somebody's parents were unhelpful, right? But then you have to wonder, what did their parents do to them that made them unhelpful? And what did the parents of those parents do? You know what I mean? It's going back. You can always go further back. So you get what did the great grandparents do to the grandparents that damaged them, that then damaged the parents, that then damaged the child? Because how far back do you go? That the present moment is the meeting point of the past that's infinite. So somehow going back over the past, there's sort of no future in it, if you know what I mean. Okay, so this fifth card shows what may come. So when we get to it, we can let people know that they can choose, they have a choice. And it can be important to know that we have some control over our life, that the questioner has some control over his or her life, in spite of what people may say and think. So you can get centered when you ask yourself where your vision is. What are you looking at? Where's your vision? And this can be hard to grasp, so the reader may not be able to explain it to the questioner in the short time that they have together. But I think if the reader will consider where their own vision is and understand that, then he or she is going to be more informed about the tarot and about cards, and they're going to be able to do more and do better. So this fifth card, because it's what may come, is useful to get the questioner to be aware of where their vision is, and to get them to see that they can choose where to look or what to look at. And if we focus on what's harmonious and act from that position, then we don't have to be controlled by the past. So somebody may have hurt the questioner in the past, or maybe they had bad experiences, but you don't have to let them control you in the present or in the now. So you become free, I think, not by going over the past again and again and trying to discover the one magical point that's going to free you. Because we can think that we're already free if we focus on harmony right now and right here and move from that point. Then the past no longer controls you and you're free of it, partly because in a lot of ways you were never really trapped by it in the first place. So the word create is interesting because it comes from a root that means to bring into focus, right? So, and that's what you're doing when you create something. So when we're told that God created the heavens and the earth, when God created the world, we're not being told that there was nothing and then suddenly there was something. Instead, we're being told that everything already existed and it was brought into focus. It was made visible or recognizable. And we can do the same in order to enjoy our daily life. We're not changing anything about our life. We're not trying to make something out of nothing. But what we're doing is recognizing the harmony that's already there. So this fifth card introduces a possible future. If it's bright and hopeful and good, it can point to a new direction. So go for it. If it's dark and unfortunate, then stop doing it or avoid it. Because the card in this fifth position is about possibilities. So think about what you can do or what changes you ought to implement to bring it about or to prevent something awkward happening. So that was something about the fifth card. And next Sunday, the 5th of April 2015, all going well, I'll upload the video for the card in the sixth position. So until then, have a good week. And if you have comments or questions, post them down below or send me an email. Okay, that's it for the moment. Thanks a lot.